Thank you. So this is Marta. My website is Truth in Aging, and I've got the Truth in Aging store. As people like John, who know me fairly well by now, know, I can talk, and it's a bit of an out-of-body experience for me not to be talking. With great discipline, I am going to just give you a very tiny little context of me and my background, which might help you understand a little bit about why I've developed the kind of approaches I have to building audience and to selling the product. And I'll just kind of really hit in a very, very headline way, the 4 or 5 things that I think have worked and lessons I've learned. And inevitably that will be a bit superficial, but it'll allow people to sort of chime in on anything they want to know more about, if anything resonated. I think there's people in the room like Jay, who knows as much, if not more, than I do about how to build audiences and provide a great experience. So other people should really chime in as well. And I think the most important thing is, don't be shy about just saying, this is what I'm finding really hard, and we can talk it through and see if we can come up with some ways of, kind of getting everybody over the inevitable hurdles. So just a bit on the relevant part of my background is that for 3 years I ran all the websites for Hachette Philippaki, which is a magazine company that publishes Elle and Woman's Day and Car and Driver, and at the time there were 16 brands, and therefore we had to create 16 websites. And when I got there, Car and Driver, just as an example, Car and Driver was the #1 automotive magazine brand in the country, and that probably means the world, since America is such a very big market. And we were the 49th automotive online site. So what Hachette had done was really not develop that brand online, and they hadn't done any of the kind of basic tricks that really needed to happen. So all of their brands were just really falling behind what they should have been. And again, a good example of Car and Driver is that about 50% of the traffic, which wasn't very big, was coming straight to the website because they knew the Car and Driver brand. Only 6% of the traffic was actually coming via Google searches. And if you searched on something that was relevant to Car and Driver, it'd probably be on about page 15 of Google, which means that nobody ever found it. And because they were magazine people, they tended to think in deadlines of really about a month. And the only other piece of my background that's relevant is I started out in newspapers, so for a print person, I was unusually used to sort of daily deadlines, or even having to, multiple editions on the same day. And really the most important thing you can do, and Kathy says this, I think somebody asked her, why her website was so successful, and she said, I've been posting 3 times a day for over 2 years, and that's really the first thing to do, is to put content up there as much as you physically possibly can. It doesn't have to be long, it can be short. It can be, it should be as relevant and as timely as possible. And the worst thing you can do is go, oh, well, I need to post every day, so I'm going to write them all over the weekend and schedule them, to sort of go up on Monday. Because the world and, very importantly, Google will think that you're only posting once a week or once a day even. One of the big things that I did recently was I used to have all my posts, I usually do about 3 posts a day, and I was having all my posts ready the night before and scheduling them to sort of pop up at around 7 o'clock the following morning. And when I changed that to scheduling them to appear, morning, early afternoon, late afternoon or evening, the viewership went up exponentially for 2 reasons. One is that Google thought I was publishing multiple times a day as opposed to just one. So the volume of content that I was providing hadn't changed at all. It was just the way I was publishing it. And also readers kept saying to me, oh yeah, we have to come back to the site several times a day because we don't know when you're going to, when something new is going to come up. So that was really helpful. So quantity is actually almost more important than quality when you're getting started. You really just need to have what looks like a very dynamic website with a lot going on. The second thing is to try and carve out some kind of niche for yourself. And people told me this all the time, and I didn't really know how important it was. And in fact, I almost dismissed it because, niche or niche, as Americans say, sounds, like it's inevitably going to be something that's really small. And what's the point of being the biggest in a very small space? Well, actually, it can have a huge impact. And the way I got started with Truth in Aging, where it literally was, 20 of my friends coming onto my website, I uncovered a story about a specific product, which happens to be an eyelash growth product, that had a very controversial, potentially dangerous drug inside them that was the active ingredient that made people's eyelashes grow. And I just got onto the story somehow or other and printed it, and the Wall Street Journal picked up on it, and they were kind enough to link back to this tiny, weeny little website. And it sort of put us on the map. So I went from 20 friends to 200 people. And a couple of very wise people who, are very good at search engine optimization and knowing the business said, just keep pushing that. If no one else is doing eyelash growth, then own eyelash growth. And for 2 years, we've actually worked really hard at owning eyelash growth. But it's true. And now, if you type in eyelash growth on Google, you will get Truth in Aging coming up, well up on page 1, out of literally millions of entries. And it's us. And now anybody who manufactures an eyelash growth product sends it to me. I've had PR people calling me up saying, I'm going to lose my job if I don't get my eyelash product reviewed on your website, because we are the place to go for eyelash growth. And it's stupid and it's embarrassing, and I can't believe that, after a 30-year career, I am reduced to owning the eyelash growth market, but that's the way it is.